Hello everybody, this is Frogman and welcome back to Satisfactory. Last episode we did a little bit of work and we built a system that is about to complete the third part for Project 4, or complete Phase 4, what do you want to call it, for Project Assembly that's going on up there. As you notice, that number is 870 at this point, and that's because I've been spending a lot of time playing between this episode and the last. And if you notice, we're back over here in the area where we kind of parked I think it's 2 episodes ago, maybe 3 episodes ago. This is where I was going to say we were probably going to jump off to go up on top of the hill over there and design or decide how we're going to build a factory that is going to make a bunch of stuff for us up in here. Now, I have not done that. I've done a little bit more other things as we're fixing to go look at, because I kind of want to have the majority of the parts that we need to be produced in this, well, for that area. We have a parts production here and parts production currently over here that we're going to go check out here in very shortly. But I've been very busy. It's kind of another one of those things, like I stated, when we got done when we finished with the heavy modular frames, that it's like, we're going to get to a point where we've done this, so it's just going to be me building parts. But we're starting over here because it's just a kind of a nice drive or train ride over to that point. And I think we're actually probably not going to use this location to go up. I think we're probably actually going to go down the rail line a little further, because there's a little bit easier, well, a little bit nicer spot. We're going to end up on top of the hill over there eventually because we have to, and I need to make sure that is put away so that it does not aggravate us. I did use this quite a bit and it's been very handy. So let's go take a trip over here real quick. Now, I'm saying all of this because I've already got this rail line here. I built this a long time ago, so we should actually be able to get up a little easier right around over in this area somewhere. And because of where this is at, is a nice flat spot right here, close in between where we're going to need to go. So we may be doing it right there, or we may go down a little bit further, but for now we can kind of take a fly over the abyss that is nothing. There's nothing down there at all. And the other, what is that, nitrogen node that's around, that's probably the other one that we'll try to use if we have to. But let's go to the swamp. As you guys all know, I said we were going to start building a factory over here, and well, I kind of sort of, well, built the factory over here. So let's check it out and see how it's working. It's still very skeletal, but it's functional. And, well, like I said, we wanted to build a bunch of aluminum. We need to build a bunch of aluminum. So we're just going to jump out and let that dude stop. And welcome to the, the monstrosity that we're going to use to build 2,000 aluminum casings per minute. So it is a little crazy and a little large, and I just kind of spent a good, I don't know, about 6-8 hours yesterday or day before, whenever it was, just building this mess. So I kind of want to explain a little bit about this deal. Aluminum is, again, we've already done this once. That's the only reason why I'm not, hey, yeah, you need to not stop. Can I have that? I need to finish signaling this section in here because, let's check this real quick. I need to make sure this is signaled so that doesn't happen. Thank you. And then we need another one right, well, there's one right there, and okay, so we're good. That way he can continue to do his work, because this guy is very important to what we're doing, and we don't want that train to stop. So again, we've said it a couple of times. We played around with these various technologies. We've already done builds like this. This is just basically taking what I have in base and multiplying it by, well, 5 times, I think. Because I think all we have in base is like 3 or maybe 4 refineries doing the work, and here we have 15. So it's pretty much the exact same process, just in a really bit larger kind of a deal. And again, we're doing it very skeletal at this point. I did not have the time nor the energy or the want to try to decorate it. So let's kind of go over this very quickly. The reason why we kind of came over to the swamp is, well, the swamp is nice and wide open, and there's plenty of water, and there's also plenty of aluminum. So there's 2 aluminum nodes over there, and there are, what, 3 aluminum nodes, like, right there. They're all just kind of right around over there in that little area. And if you notice, everything is built kind of up in the air, and that's for a reason. The swamp is a nasty, terrible place. And let's see, drop all the way down. The swamp is a nasty, terrible place that if you go down here, there's just nothing but just nasty kinds of animals and critters and fog and spiders, and it's not a friendly place as far as trying to build a factory, especially down in it. Now, I mean, you could blow it all up and you could mess around with a few things, but then there's just poison gas everywhere in all kinds of places. So what I did was I already had that rail line come through this area, and I just took a level off of the rail line and ran it over here to where it was kind of close to the water so that we could kind of have a little bit of a thing. So my major concern actually is that we're filming this, or I'm doing this on, what is this, Monday, the whatever today is. I'm going to have to look when we set this up. But supposedly tomorrow, Update 6 is going to drop, which is pretty terrible for timing for us doing these episodes, because part of the reason why I'm glad I did that is because I've killed and or traded out a lot of stuff underneath this platform and various other platforms, and it's very much likely going to get very, 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 very ugly next episode, because of the fact that this area is going to get a major update overhaul, and then quite a few of the other locations in the map are going to get a major overhaul. So I'm glad I got this done before they did that. Hopefully they don't break anything in the process. But anyhow, let us speak about this very quickly so we can kind of get this over with, and then we can start talking about the what we're going to be building next time. So I guess I need to actually get on my other jetpack and we can go up to the other side. So alright, so starting with the reason why I kind of chose this over here is because of the fact there is a pile of water up here that you can use to move various things down. So I don't have to worry about pumping water back up or anything like that. We didn't need nearly as many pumps. I think I said something like 25. That was because I forgot the math about the fact that those are going to recycle a little bit of their water back down once they're done. So essentially what we're doing is we're pumping water from up here on top of the waterfall, putting a whole lot of head pressure on it from right here, and then blowing it into the ones down on the bottom. Now the ones down on the bottom are doing the aluminum into, let me see, it's alumina. Wow, that's not what I wanted. Can you not please? They're doing the alumina solution, which is going to be this one right here, the second alternate recipe, where we're basically taking 10 water, 10 bauxite, and turning it into 12 alumina solution. And part of the interesting thing about that is when you process the alumina solution into aluminum scrap, hang on a minute, aluminum scrap, we're getting a decent amount of water back. So you're going to get, you know, what was it, like 12 water in, 7 water back out. So we only really needed 80 water per machine down there to make this work. So this wasn't nearly as bad as I had expected it to be. So the biggest issue that I did have was that I thought I was going to do a lot of the work back there as far as bringing in the aluminum, and then I remembered that the swamp is full of aluminum. So reality says we're only bringing in 500 aluminum from over there where that nasty mess is. And yes, it is kind of, you can see the road. You can see the road. It goes back that direction, then goes up on top of a mountain and nails that one pure node over there. Let me get rid of this too while we're at it. Let's clean up our interface just a little bit. Go away. Now, the other thing that we've got really lucky with, I guess was really lucky, or was the way it was supposed to work, is that can we do this? Yes, thank you. Get tired of the fog. There you go. Now you can actually see what's going on. The other thing that we got lucky with is that I was planning on using the copper nodes that are up around this little lake to produce all of the copper that we need for this thing. But actually looking around in the area, there are 2 copper nodes down here in the swamp itself that produce just enough copper to do the rest of the aluminum work. So what we're doing here again is we're taking the aluminum and the water, we're plumbing it into the bottom down here on these, can I scroll in a little bit, on those refineries. Those refineries are then taking their alumina solution, pumping it upwards to the refineries on top, which are then taking the coal and the alumina solution, mixing those two together and turning that into alumina scrap. The water that is left over is then falling back down, and on the back of every one of these things you can kind of see we've got a little manifold going on here where the water goes into the center of that and the center of over there. These manifolds are then designed so that they're only allowed to put in 80 water into that pipe. So the rest of the water that we need is going to fall down off the top into those and recycle over and over and over and over again and just be added to as we need it. So once that's done, then we take all that crazy aluminum scrap, which is a lot of aluminum scrap, and we dump it out to the front of the system into a bunch of smelters. So let's get over and take a look. Almost thought I didn't have my jetpack on at that point. So, with the amount of aluminum scrap that we're making, we can run 95 of these smelters doing the pure aluminum ingot recipe, which is not terrible, but it's just simply a little bit of aluminum scrap into aluminum. Everything is wonderfully loud here. I probably can shut my earphones down a little bit, but anyhow. So what we're doing then is we're just dumping that down into these. Now, these were a little bit of fun because I decided to split them in half. So we've got 45 on this side and 45 on that side over here, which is requiring us to do a little bit of goofy belt balancing and, well, certain other things, because me not really feeling like trying to make sure everything was exactly correct. So we're making use of some smart splitters to make sure that belts are full to specific sets of furnaces, smelters first before they drop down to the next level. Ow. Probably should be careful. Put your other things back on so you quit hurting yourself. There we go. So that we're basically doing a little bit of goofiness. So what's happening here is the excess, or the last little bit between the two, is going up to this top section here where there's only 5 smelters. Underneath of that, there's 2 floors of 20 smelters. So we've got 45 on both sides. Again, we're just taking a little bit of the stuff for there, dropping it down into a system where we're then stripping off a little bit from both sides here, putting it through a center channel. We're taking almost two 720 belts. I think both sides here work for 600. So it's 600, 600, and then we're taking the leftover, the 120 off the top, dropping it down here, adding it to the other little bit that we're getting, and another 720, merging, splitting, balancing, all that kind of stuff, and sending it into these guys. So the thing I utterly hate about aluminum, especially the aluminum scrap, is the fact that it stacks to 500. This is ridiculous. I understand that, there's a lot of things you got to do with this, but this is one of those things that honestly does not need to stack to 500. It could stack to 200, it could stack to 100, it could stack to something way less than 500, but the reason why it stacks to 500 is probably due to the fact that those things up there are pushing something like 360 per minute, which means that's an awful lot of stuff. So it's just really aggravating when you're doing a kind of an overflow system, and even for that matter, if you're trying to belt balance 45 furnaces or smelters, it can get really, 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 really stupid very quickly, which is why I'm just overflowing everything down. But it takes forever to buffer those things up so that the next one turns on. So it's one of those kinds of things. You turn it on, you fill them up, and you let them run, and then you start dumping them into whatever they need to get dumped in. But anyhow, this is kind of mirrored from both directions. So we have 45 on this side, 45 on that side. Well, we'll get over there and take a look at that in a little bit, but basically after that, then they're dumped into 18 assemblers that are using the copper that we're finding from around the area and some of the aluminum ingots to craft the aluminum casings. Each one of those machines is making 112.5 per minute, which is all said and done right around 2025 aluminum casings per minute. We need 2,000, so we're just barely making it over, and I built all of this so that pretty much it should run flat out all the time, making that 225, so that nothing back here backs up. Nothing should be backing up. We might see a little bitty one-off and twosy-off thing. It's only really been running solid for about the last couple hours, so I'm just stress testing it as good as we can at this point, but that's how we're working it. Now, the other issue was, while we're talking about this, is the coal. Coal, we were planning on bringing in from... hit the right button. Nope, not this one. Where's my map? Map, there we go. Coal we were planning on bringing in from this little bitty circle area. Problem is we needed a way more coal than what was over here. The next nearest available coal was going to be up here on top of the hill. We're past this bauxite node. So what I did is we already had a kind of a rail line that runs from, well, right out here up through the line and then out into the desert, into the big flat desert out here. And right over here is a large amount of coal. So that's where we went and got it. I went and just set up some train stations and stuck a bunch of really, miners, whatnot on it, and pumped those into a train station so that we're bringing in all of the coal we need. And we're bringing it into this train station, which then has a bunch of, well, let me see, is it working? Bunch of belts coming out of here that are going into storages. Again, since this is very important that we do not lose concentricity of the amount of stuff on the belt. I know that's a big word, but I want to make sure that the concentration of coal on that never goes below, 100%. We need that thing absolutely flooded with coal all the time because we're using a lot of coal up there. So what you do, again, is you take your train station, you pump the output of your train station into at least an industrial storage container or whatever. This will hold the amount that this will hold. So the neat thing about it is because they have two outputs and these have two inputs, you can pull out of there twice as fast as you pull out or whatever. However, you can make sure that these are refilled as soon as that train leaves, which is kind of the whole point about this deal. But this keeps you from having any blank spots on that belt. So we have a nice long line of stuff coming from over there, and again there is, let's see if I can get out here without getting run over. You hear them? So we have a copper node right here that I believe is a pure node that's producing a decent amount of stuff. Where are you? I wish I had some more booms. I'm out of them. And of course, like I said, there's a bunch of other stuff back here, but yeah, the aluminum that we're using is back over here as well as on the other side, just as you get out of here. And there's a further on copper node way right there, I think. Yeah, that copper node right there, that one was kind of fun to do because, that means I had to get down on the ground. I built the majority of this. I built the majority of this from up here because of the fact that, we have the mod that allows us to extend up, down, and around. I can even build from like right here. If you're really careful, you can put stuff down, and the only thing you have to do is fly down, jump down, drop in some, whatever you call those things, the power shards, and then come back up. So yeah, that's a pure node, so it only needed two. But that way you can kind of build over this area and not have to worry about it. And I think I might still need to go get that hard drive right there. But for the most part, we've gotten all the hard drives in this area that we can get. There's one on top of that little bubble of thing over there, but I believe that one needs a superposition oscillator or something we can't make. And, one of those deals. This is not a nice area, and for what it's worth, probably in the next update, it's going to get really a lot worse looking, actually. Supposedly, they're going to make it actually look like a swamp. Where are you? Yeah, there you are. You, right there. You've been bothering me this whole time. But anyhow, so all of that stuff is then dragged down the line over to here, where we're just kind of putting it up into a kind of a bus form. And for now, we're smelting all of the copper that's coming out of those two nodes over in about, I forget what it is, 40 something odd smelters, 46, 47 odd smelters, just sitting here doing the work. I got, by the time I hit that point with this project, I was like, just put them down. Stop trying to do this. Just put them down. So I may come back later on and clean that up, but for now, that's making more copper than we need. Making more copper by, I think, 2 smelters, because I just said, well, both of those 2 are capable of doing such and such and so, so I built the smelters for the amount that those 2 are making. So it's like a normal node and a pure node capped out so that they're capping out belts. So that all works. Again, runs around the corner, goes down over here, and is dropped into another one of the kind of things that I'm kind of really just enjoying, is these smart splitters to make sure that one side is full all the time and any excess runs over here. But for the most part, this has been running pretty much solid since yesterday afternoon or evening or whenever I got tired and I decided to wake up this morning and turn this on. So we'll probably actually complete phase 4 part maybe in this episode or by the time next episode starts. But anyhow, we're making the stuff, and all of it is going into a awesome sink right now. So we're currently cranking out, well, roughly, what is that? Mill 7, mill 6 per minute. This number has been going up steadily since we've been doing this project, and it's continued to go up steadily as we do this project. The next jump is actually going to be quite large, because once we start taking these parts and turning them into the radio control units, the radio control units are going to get very, 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 that's a decent amount of points. So I've been kind of wanting to watch to make sure that our coal is working correctly. You're going to dump 2 complete, and you're leaving 1. So it is definitely working. It's just one of these seems to be using a little bit more coal. Well, these two back ones here, I may have to do a little bit more belt balancing, although it is kind of balanced up there as far as things go. So we can kind of go up here real quick and I can show you. The coal comes in and it's split between the 3 sets of the 3 set, what is it, 5 sets of 3 up here. And I did 5 sets of 3 mainly because it just looked better and it was easier to do the math across up here as far as these go, plus a few of the other things down on the bottom. This got really annoying after a while because every one of those needs 200 aluminum ore to make it work. So it was a little bit of fun, but we did get it done. I did get it balanced, but again, like I said, the stuff comes up the hill. Part of it goes over there to here, part of that goes over to here to there, and part of it goes all the way down there to there. So yes, for right now, this is what it's going to be. Now, if you notice the stutter, part of the reason why we didn't film any of the building of this is that stutter, and that stutter is due to the fact that this section lies very, 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 very close to what I would consider a chunk border or a map edge. And let's see if we can change our thing out, and I will show you guys the map edge. Now, we're probably going to have to go somewhere else to go see it. So give me a second and I'll go show you guys the map edge. And what I mean by the map edge is this world is laid out in large graphical sections that are square. And those sections are built based on, what's around them. And the thing is when you're playing around on an edge, which is really, really, really close to, I think, probably right about where this is. It's kind of hard to tell right here because you can't really see it. But there is a spot behind us we can actually go see it. So let's go take a run up here, and I'll show you. Okay, Thank you, autosave. So as I was stating, things get a little wonky when you get around one of these, and this is the difference between, or this is the edge between one map and another, or one chunk and another. As you can see, they don't necessarily line up every time either, so they can be kind of a danger. If you're not careful, you can actually get underneath the map on these. But like this one travels pretty much this direction, and you can see the texture and everything different. I built a factory over here in one of my other personal playthroughs. And if you look at the direction we're facing right now, you can see that it runs kind of right across the edge of this area. And I think the other angle is like right over here. If you take the that Satisfactory calculator that I spoke about a couple episodes ago, you can actually see those on the visual map. So one of the things about building a large factory, or at least if you plan on building a large factory, is to maybe use that map and figure out where those edges are, because what it does is it becomes a royal pain in the tail to try to make things or build structures or whatever, because you'll continuously have a spot where your frame rates will plummet, and it's a known thing. I've seen it on other people's streams and videos. It's getting anywhere near one of those things, especially this one. Especially this one is a bad place. So, can y'all just shush, please? So, we are, for what it's worth, these were the copper nodes that I was planning on using. These are all pure nodes. There's 3 of them up here, and if we need to, we can come back and use these later on. But this is very simple. It's pretty much right around the hill, right around the corner from where we're making our compact coal, which is right there. So, yeah. And there are tons and tons of stupid hogs over here. Hi. Yeah, I need to go back and resupply before I kill this character. Can you not? Okay, we're trying to talk. We're trying to get a few things over. So I'm going to run back over to where we're doing the aluminum, and then we can start talking about what we're going to do for the next step. There's another line right there. You can kind of see that angle in this direction. We're playing right on the edge of that corner, and had I known that, I would have moved this whole thing over. So we're, like I said, so technically we're right on the edge of one of the areas, one of the maps. It's right on the edge. Now, granted, the majority of the swamp is inside one, but it seems like once you get closer to one side or the other, like when I was building all of those and when I was building this side of that factory, this section over here, it was just stutter. But as soon as I'd move, 3 or 4 foundations the other direction, everything was just fine. So we are getting to the point where the game is starting to get a little chunky. And that is because we're putting down all kinds of stuff. I think I should be able to make this back over here again, correct? Right? Yes, nice. Go, good, yay, awesome. So, this was like part number 1 that I was going to work for as far as the radio control units. So, radio control units, we're going to be using the recipe, I believe this one right here, because of the fact that this is going to be the easier out of all the ones. Now, this one is not amazing. This one is not amazing because of the fact that technically this one is going to be better for us, and we're going to be able to make quite a few of these using that recipe versus the other one. So, it's a big deal. However, it's going to require us to make we're looking at making 40-something, I believe, 40-something of these per minute. So 40 radio control units per minute, 40, 42, something along those lines, is going to require us to make a decent amount of the crystal oscillators as well as circuit boards. So the next big project that we're going to build is going to be a crystal oscillator / circuit board recipe. And I think the fun part is going to be I should say this. The fun part is going to be that this whole mess is going to require us to build a few things to include the AI limiters because we're going to be using this. So if you notice, that's going to be a whole lot of quick wire and a whole lot of few other things. So every single one of those crystal oscillators, if we go, let me see, back to where we were, radio control unit. Every one of those crystal oscillators is going to make 3 radio units for us, but every single one of those crystal oscillators is going to require an AI limiter. And an AI limiter is going to require a lot of copper and a lot of quick wire. So probably in between episodes, I'm going to decide where we're going to build a quick wire factory, but we're going to be leaving the swamp behind and starting to build over in that area. Our final, like I said, this project, this thing should be somewhere right around either right in front of this water, right above this spot over here, or wherever. But we're going to start filling this area full of stuff. So for now, I think I'm going to call it. This was pretty tiresome, and it's fun to build, but it gets a little tiring after a while. And again, I still have to clean it up and peel all the excess foundations off that I don't need, and then figure out how I'm going to make it look pretty. But for now, we're just going to let it run, and we'll hopefully see what happens in between now and the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.